Hey, it's Motivational Coco, and welcome to Motivational Drive-By. I'm gonna adjust my mic. I just got some cat food, got some kitty food. All right. I want to talk about. God, I'm trying to remember. I was at the circuit court, where you like pay your tickets and file paperwork and junk like that. I was talking to a guy, and in conversations with him, I came up with this statement. The statement is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. That would be suicide. Suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. I have had the opportunity to work with a reasonable amount of people who were contemplating ending their lives. And what's interesting is it's always a bad idea, needless to say, because every time I talk to somebody, they're stressed out, they're bummed out, they're disappointed, they're frustrated, they're angry, they're lost, and it's always because of situations that have been taking place over the last anywhere between 2 years and 2 weeks. And because of whatever it is that's been taking place over 2 years or 2 weeks, they're ready to kill themselves. I know a very good friend of mine he's unimaginably talented, was just at his wit's end. And he just thought it would be everybody would be better off if he was dead. And I let him know that he was, quite insane, which is, in his case, a very good thing. And we talked about it, and he called me back 2 or 3 or 4 times because I couldn't really find him. He was, driving, and he was out in the middle of nowhere, and he was contemplating just walking out into the woods and killing himself. And he didn't. And, what's funny is 2 months later, he's doing fantastically. So it's one of these deals where, okay, and every other situation where I've, worked with people who were suicidal, same thing happened. It was something that was, it just seemed overwhelming now. But, it's a small percentage of their life. If you plan on living 100 years and you have a bad year, that's 1% of your life. If you have 6 months out of 100 years, that's a half of 1%. I mean, it's ridiculous. So you're going to kill yourself over, a half a penny, basically. But there's a lot of other aspects where we have found permanent solutions to temporary problems. And you do this in your life all the time. I do relationship coaching, so I work with people all the time. And, divorce is a very permanent solution to something that may be very temporary. And, a lot of times it's like, it's crazy. One of my teachers used to talk about the fact that, the whole irreconcilable differences is such a pathetic thing. It's always the little things that drive you crazy. She squeezes the toothpaste tube in the middle. He doesn't throw his clothes in the hamper. He leaves his shoes in the middle of the room. These are reasons to get divorced? I mean, it's pretty crazy, some of these reasons that, people find. And granted, a lot of times there are other underlying things. These are the tipping points, and that's something I don't want to diminish. But if you're using that as an excuse, it's pretty pathetic. I mean, why don't you address the real problem? What's really the problem? I mean, people lose interest, people grow apart. That happens all the time. And in the future, I'll have one where I talk about how marriage has changed since our grandparents and our parents. Be one in the next few days. Anyway, but when you're talking about a permanent solution to a temporary problem. You know, you may love your job, but right now business is slow, and rather than work harder and make new opportunities, you're ready to quit your job and try something else and get into something you may dislike because it makes more money. That is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. There's a lot of opportunities we have, and I always, when I have an opportunity to talk to people, I always look at this issue. You know, is this life-changing situation? Now, are you doing this life-changing situation for a good reason or a bad reason? Are you doing this life-changing situation because it will improve the, you know, you will be happier, your family will be happier, every aspect of your being is going to improve? Or are you doing this life-changing, you know, going through this life-changing occurrence because your girlfriend wants you to, because your parents want you to, because your boss wants you to? It runs contrary to every fiber in your body. You're going to loathe, despise, and hate it and yourself for doing it. Okay, so you're seeing where I'm going with this whole concept. You need to spend some time and evaluate before you do anything major. And there's a lot of major things people do, you know, for all the wrong reasons. And one of them, once again, may be it's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. This is something that, you know, and every time I've presented this to people, everybody stops and goes, whoa. Because everybody in their life, and I've done it a couple times. Fortunately, I was able to, no, actually, it took me many, many years. 2 marriages and a divorce, but that had to do with being normal and, you know, doing this whole thing. You know, the whole permanent solution to a temporary problem. And sometimes it's a multiple, you know, a multitude of things that kind of come together. But you get my point. Every time I've presented this concept to some, you know, to people, everybody goes, whoa, because they've done it, or a friend has done it, or their father did it, or I know my father did that, and was it a good idea or a bad idea? I don't know. Is he, you know, was he happier? I don't know. You know, and that's not my decision to make. I can't determine whether he's better off or worse off for what he did. I just know he is, you know, who he is. And unfortunately, these permanent solutions to temporary problems that we make can affect us in a very detrimental means, and you know, and not necessarily. I mean, it's not just one aspect. It could be across the board. I mean, you know, you make this permanent, you know, this permanent solution for a temporary problem, and then suddenly it changes your whole personality, because suddenly you have to, you know, learn how to, you know, eat what you kill. You need to smile as you kill. You need to, you know, change your personality, and then suddenly you don't like yourself. Nobody likes you. And it just gets out of control, and then suddenly you lose everything you have because of this one change. You see what you get the gist of what I'm saying. If you ever get to a point where you're up against the wall like this, shoot me an email, send me a text. I'm available in 10 different ways. You know, find me on Facebook, find me on LinkedIn, find me on Twitter, go to my web pages. Send me a message. I will get back to you as quickly as possible, and we can talk about, you know, getting you out of this situation. Most of the time it seems absolutely desperate. It's not. It's a matter of, and in fact, the next drive-by I'm doing is talking about altering your perspective. Before you get a little crazy, watch the next one. That will be, watch the next one, which is going to talk about this whole changing your perspective. As always, Motivational Coco, out.